What's that saying? It's a good day to have a good day.
It's always a good day.
Yes.
It's a good day to have a good day.
Today is draft day. Challenger draft day.
Yeah, but by the time this releases, it will be well out.
Yes, it'll be out and the trades will have already happened. Yeah. So I think we could talk about them.
Yeah. Let's hope they're accurate and they don't change.
That's true. That's true.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of King of the Court. We are your hosts, Tyler and
Jimmy Miller.
Did you guys pay that fine?
What fine?
The one that you got fined for $100,000?
It's checks in the mail.
Checks in the mail?
Check is in the mail. Might want to hold IOU like on Dumb and Dumber. Might want to hold on to that one.
Weren't you supposed to pay it by end of February? We are
Tyler,
now in March.
Well,
they're collecting interest on this.
I'm paying my debt just like PPA does.
Hey.
It's 90, 120 days late.
Hey, I heard, what was I going to say? Oh, I heard they're issuing a lot more fines recently. Were you the first domino to fall?
Yeah, I think that I was the
started everything?
I was the example.
Wow.
I was the example, and now
I feel like I've heard of at least another one, or if not two.
Well, there was another fine we heard, and then also there was a paddle fine. Liz Trueluck.
Yeah, I mean that's different.
Yeah, but $2,500 is a lot for that. That's probably more than she's ever made in prize money.
Yeah, we'll need to get into that.
Yeah. So
all right, welcome back to another episode of King of the Court. Thank you to our title sponsor, which is the Pickler. They are the #1 indoor pickleball facility in the entire world, with so many locations sold, with a location coming to a town near you. Jimmy, tell us about them.
Yeah, so the big thing with the Pickler, we like to highlight little things that they're doing, and coming up, they have one of the many things that the Pickler offers is a full AI experience for their members.
What is AI?
So they have artificial intelligence.
Okay.
So they have what's called Wingfield. And Wingfield essentially it's pickleball technology. They track your shots, gives you shot statistics. You can actually press a button. This is what's cool. Remember when we played there was a questionable line call. Mm-hmm. You can walk over and you could literally hit the replay.
Is that where you got overturned on it?
Never been overturned, actually. I do not need this. So it actually will track everything. It'll give you statistics. It'll give you highlights. And it all is sent straight to your phone. So they're doing an AI challenge for the youth, ages 13 to 18, a minimum skill level of 3.0, March 15th at all the Picklers.
Okay. So
they're going to do King of the Court. They're going to do, you can test your serves, returns, drops, live leaderboards, expert drills at 4 skill locations, and then they're going to do prizes. So check it out. It's actually free if you're a Pickler member.
Cool.
Only $30 if you're a non-member. All you need is a smartphone. So some of you parents, it's time. You're going to have to give your kids a phone. Little Johnny needs a phone. You guys have been holding out, but little Johnny needs a phone.
Okay, awesome. That's really cool. Thank you for the support, Pickler. Also, if you're interested in owning your own franchise or being a part of this ever booming sport industry of pickleball, go to thepickler.com.
I just got a text yesterday from somebody saying, hey, do you have connections at the Pickler? We're thinking about opening a few.
Boom.
Yeah.
All right. Also, big shout out to our next sponsor. We talk about them every single week. Why haven't you bought in your next item from them? Pickleball Central, the #1 online retailer in the entire world. They have all the paddles, bags. Do they have D-Lam paddles there?
No, you got to go to eBay for those. $75. But I mean, most of these paddles are going to D-Lam quickly anyway. So if you're out there getting your exercise, doing what you're supposed to be doing, then Pickleball Central, you could probably, end up with a delaminated paddle after a month or so.
Use code KOTC 0325 for this month's discount code. Saves you
Trace.
Dos cinco.
Thank you.
25.
25.
Exactly. It will save you a little bit of money, and it supports us and gets you the best price possible.
Yes.
All right, Jimmy.
Tyler.
We have had a pretty busy past few days.
Yeah.
For those in the space, there was the little thing called MLP, Major League Pickleball Draft.
Yeah.
That's been hyped up for quite some time.
Yes.
Give us the rundown.
Well, yeah. So first, I think we are we are not what's the word? Strangers to controversy on our pod.
Okay.
I have stuck my foot in my mouth many of times.
Too many times.
I've issued apologies many a times.
No, you haven't. To who?
I feel like sometimes I need to.
You need to, but you don't.
I've doubled down on certain things that I probably shouldn't have. And so I want
What's
to
been
talk.
your worst take?
Oh, I mean, I don't think any of them are bad. So I want to talk about somebody else who is a friend of the show.
Okay. You say everyone's a friend of the show, though.
Yes, but she is. She's been on the pod.
Okay.
Pickleball Chick, Caitlin Kerr.
Okay. The one and only.
The
former
one and only.
GM of Las Vegas Night
Former
Owls.
GM, yes. So Caitlin, I'm not going to even like pretend. Her and I are good friends. Mm-hmm. So I'm definitely a little bit biased. I probably give Caitlin a lot more grace than others have seemed to given her. So what happened was the kitchen. Everyone's in Necker Island. If you didn't know, if you're not on social media, everybody's in Necker Island.
Did you get invited?
I did not. They I think that you have to have a certain body type. The last thing they want is me laying on the beach in Necker Island. Okay.
You didn't have the 30,000? Oh, you just paid the fine with that.
Yeah, I would have. I actually was planning on going, but I had to pay a fine. So Caitlin is there.
Uh-huh.
The kitchen, Jared Paul and company did a live draft show.
Okay.
And it was around the 10th pick or so, 12th pick. She sits down.
And this is live stream.
Live stream.
Live streamed on their Facebook page or YouTube page?
Yeah, I'm assuming Facebook.
Okay.
They're kind of boomers. They use Facebook. And so it was live stream. She sits down and she essentially, kind of gives her analysis. And then all of a sudden she's like, who are these girls that are being picked? Mm-hmm. They freaking suck. Mm-hmm. She's like, I'm better than most of these girls. Mm-hmm. These girls suck. And then Carolina's pick comes up. Oh, and she says, Ben, and I'm just going to give her a little bit of credit, like not credit, but a little bit of explanation here. She says, Ben is not going to want to play with any of these girls. Mm-hmm. And I believe she said that because of Ben's disinterest last year. She's essentially doubling down saying that if he was that disinterested last year, you think he's going to be super interested playing with a lot of unknowns.
Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden Carolina picks. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like the perfect moment. And it was Tammy Emmerich. Mm-hmm. And her face, Caitlin's face, her eyes get big. Mm-hmm. She was like, and drops the microphone and walks off. Mm-hmm. And pickleball.com, who is also not afraid of controversy, posted the video and it blew up. Comments galore. It's been taken down, by the way.
I think it's currently up.
No. It's gone.
No way.
Yeah, Caitlin must have friends in high places. So basically, they took the video, there was a lot of comments and a lot of pros. So Lena commented on it.
Wow, you're right.
Lena commented and said, she thinks he's unprofessional. Brooke Buckner talked about professionalism within the sport. Mm-hmm.
But come on, we're pickleball. We don't like professionalism.
No.
We're the rowdy bunch.
Yeah. And then, a lot of other people came to Tammy's defense. So a couple things. I'm just going to give my take on this, okay?
Okay, Jimmy's hot take. Go.
My hot take. Number one. There's about 3 people on the Pro Pickleball Tour who are completely untouchable. Okay? And what I mean by that is they're just good humans. Mm-hmm. They don't bother anybody. They don't cause controversy. They literally are just living their lives and existing. Right?
Didn't she get in the fight with Spencer's girlfriend, though?
She did, but that was not her. And so my point is Tammy Emmerich is one of those people. Mm-hmm. She's a mom. Everybody on PPA Tours adopted Gabby as their goddaughter. Martin doesn't even have a freaking cell phone. Okay?
He doesn't?
They share an account. She does everything. He doesn't even have a phone.
Wow.
Tammy is salt of the earth, one of the kindest humans I've ever met.
Okay.
All right? There's stories about her taking care of other players and things like that. So, number one, you come at Tammy, I think that even though she didn't mention Tammy's name, her face said it all. You come at Tammy, you're going to get a little bit of backlash. Now, if it had been...
Who are the other 3 people you said, or 2 people?
I I would say the Kawamotos are pretty like, they don't do anything to anybody.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and then Vivian David.
Okay. I like it.
Right?
Yeah.
I would say those are probably the three of the protected class.
Okay. Oh, CJ's in there.
Oh, yeah. CJ. Yes. CJ 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. CJ is also part of that protected class.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there's just certain things, people you don't come after, you don't, and Tammy's one of them. And so I think that magnified the issue. Second thing is the delivery.
Mm-hmm.
She said they suck. She said I'm better than them, all these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she's like entirely wrong with if you dig through the actual analysis. And this is where we're going to get to the draft. They're unknown. Saying they suck is completely different.
Tammy's not unknown. The other players.
The other players.
Sure.
And that's how it started.
Okay.
Are complete unknowns. This is the first time in MLP and in pickleball in general that we've had almost like something that resembles a real draft instead of what's like a fantasy draft, right? So there's a fantasy draft where you just recycle players from different teams. And that's what MLP has always been, right? Mm-hmm. It's the same players just going to different teams. But this draft almost more resembled a real like NBA or NFL draft. Well, what I mean by that is you have players who don't have results or who haven't played a lot or are new to the sport or who I mean, Felicity Delora literally played a 4-5 event a week and a half ago, who it's all about potential and you're swinging for upside, just like you do in the NBA or in the NFL or these players. You can't compare these players to other pro pickleball players because they're not that.
Yeah, they don't have the history.
Exactly. And so I get where Caitlin's coming from on that front, saying, look, I like, who are these players? But the word suck is the wrong word. We don't know if they suck. And some will. Like, look, here's the reality of the situation. Some of these players that we don't know are going to be complete and total busts.
Probably many of them.
Yes. And some of them are going to be the next Kate Fahey or Rachel Rohrabacher or one of them. Or, and they're going to come out of nowhere and they're going to be like, oh, that's a great pick. Mm-hmm. But yes, there's going to be busts. And this is the first time we've ever seen that. We're not recycling the same names over and over and over again. And some of the old heads, as I like to call them, didn't get picked.
Okay.
And they weren't selected. And that's because you know what you're going to get from them. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, do I know what I'm going to get from like Martin Emmerich is a great example, right? Martin's a great player. He's a good player. And so it's like, I know that Martin is going to be here and he's going to be available at any time. So let me go take some young, Victoria well, that's a guy versus a girl, but let me go take Steven Madonia or a Juan Benitez, right? Or Carlos Delora, and let me see if these guys can be that diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
And if not, okay, I pick Martin up on the waiver wire and I'm happy.
Okay.
And I think that's where we're at right now. So with that being said, Caitlin was harsh. She definitely, I know her heart. I think she's a good person. She definitely roots for other women and highlights other women. And so I think that's also why it was a little bit shocking, I think, for some people.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's who she is. And I'm not trying to make excuses for her. She's an adult and we got to own things. But I promise you that like she loves pickleball. She wants to see the sport grow. And I think if she could change her phrasing of things, she would have.
What's her damage control? Does she need to come out and make an apology?
Bro, MLP in the next 48 hours, by the time this release, MLP is going to be so turned upside down on its head that we're all going to forget.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think the comments were great by any means, but the issue that I have with it is the fact that she has this podcast.
Yeah.
And she, as you said, she only talks to women, at least for now. She empowers them and she wants to highlight that. And then yet she was kind of talking down on that said class.
Yeah.
So I think that is a very, very double-edged or two-sided story to it.
Yeah, 100%.
So, and then also on top of that, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Is she looking to be a GM at this moment, or because she was the former GM?
She was. I don't
Vegas
think
Night
so.
Owls.
I mean, I think she's just trying to grow her own brand, her own pod. And
Yeah.
I mean, some people say there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so hopefully that, as you said, I'm sure it will be water under the bridge very shortly.
yeah, I hope so. And hopefully at some point her and Tammy can have a conversation. Now I got to give props where props are due. Ben Johns had maybe the perfect response. Mm-hmm. He said, "I haven't heard that." Something along the lines of, "I haven't heard that."
Yeah.
I actually talked to him, like talking from himself, which
Yeah.
is kind of funny. He said, and I heard that he would love to play with you, and he's really excited.
Yeah.
So I love that. I think
Pretty
that's
classy.
Really classy. Great way for Ben to handle it.
Yeah.
So get into the draft itself. I think we all knew right away the number one pick in this draft was going to be Kate Fahey. Mm-hmm. The question was the shot going to get her back, or was somebody else going to swoop in? The Fives needed a female. Orlando needed a female. And Columbus needed a female. And so the question was, was anyone going to come in and spend to keep up with the shock? And the answer was no.
Big headline also. A lot of the teams were not spending near what they did previously.
No, I told everybody this. Nobody listens to me. For some reason, there was all these mock drafts saying that this person was going to go for $250,000 and this. No, that wasn't going. That was never going to happen. Mm-hmm. Nobody was going to spend that amount of money. They just weren't going to spend that amount of money on these players. Mm-hmm. There's been a market correction, is what I'll say. And it's starting to shift. And when these new deals are signed by players, mm-hmm. that's going to shift too. And there's a lot of players. I heard about a pretty good player yesterday who got offered a PPA deal and he turned it down mm-hmm. because he essentially thought it should be higher. Mm-hmm. But I think that it was pretty fair deal. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where the market's going.
Okay.
I mean, a guy like Max Freeman, I heard he's making $50,000. Mm-hmm. No offense to Max Freeman, but that's where Max Freeman should be.
Yeah, I mean, that's not bad.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think that's where he should be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we are right now. And the teams have shifted that same kind of focus. Mm-hmm. So Kate goes for $130,000. I think some people thought that she'd go for $250. I think,
and she gets picked up by the team that dropped her.
Yeah, I think there was a mock draft. Yeah. It might have been Klaus. I don't know, that went like $270 or something crazy. And yeah, St. Louis spent $130. I actually talked to.
Were you there? Was there a bidding war for her?
Well, I mean, so you bid on the slot first, but everybody knew they were going for Kate. But once a lot of teams jumped in and they went to 100. Mm-hmm. Like they would go to 100, they'd go 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And then after it went over 100, mm-hmm. it was like everybody backed off.
Huh. That's interesting. You think if they really wanted that slot, they'd be able to go maybe.
Well, so I talked to Ross Chaffetz mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. And one comment that he made, which I think makes sense, is he said that he thinks that I said, how come, are you surprised people didn't bid you up higher? Mm-hmm. And he said that one of the things is he thinks that maybe had they bid the shock up higher, that would have set the precedence for picks 2 through 10 of being higher, and nobody wanted that. And so the shock took Kate at 130, and then honestly, it went down from there.
Okay.
I mean, there's only like 2 or 3 other picks over 100,000. Riley Newman went for 110, mm-hmm. and then Leia went for 110.
And who did she go to?
Leia went to Columbus.
Okay, and CJ's there, and who else is there?
Yeah, so let's just go through we don't have to go pick by pick, but let's just go through the rosters. Okay. I think that's a better way to do it, right? So Atlanta kept Vivian Glausman, Jaume, and Todd Fote. Mm-hmm. And then they ended up spending on the 11th pick in the draft mm-hmm. for Victoria DeMuzio. Mm-hmm. So Victoria is a Canadian. She plays MPL. I think that's what it's called in Canada, or CPL, or...
NPL's the senior league.
That's the senior. She played. I think it's Canadian. Not anyways. She played that. She was kind of the hot player in this draft. She was the Kate or the Rachel.
Okay.
Coming into the draft, I think she kind of rose up a lot of people's draft boards, and so Atlanta, she's going to play next to Glausman, and we'll see how she does. Then they rounded out their draft by taking Sam Querrey.
Sam Querrey,
who By the time this comes out, I think it's being announced today, so I can say it. Stella Artois, who's also owned by Anheuser-Busch, is actually taking over the marketing for the bouncers.
Okay.
So it was Ultra, Michelob Ultra, and they're changing their colors and everything. And so I believe I was told it was going to be announced today. So they're changing their colors and everything, and Sam's the perfect, like, they love Sam. He's a good spokesmodel. And then they pick up Retger. Rachel Retger is Vivian Glassman's hype girl. They went 10-2 together. She's not a bad person to have on your bench. So that's kind of Atlanta's draft. I don't hate it. I don't think that they're
these bench players, will they be traveling with the teams?
Yeah, so they have to travel. So here's one thing. We haven't talked about this, but Samin came out with a rule, and we didn't discuss it on the pod because it wasn't public yet, or it was just barely coming out our last pod. There's a rule that says that your 5th and 6th players are not protected.
Yes, correct.
So what that means is that anybody can essentially come in and from another team after every waiver period or before every waiver period, each team protects 4 players.
The top 4.
The top 4. The 2 unprotected players can be.
Could you protect 3 guys and 1 girl?
I think you have to be balanced.
Okay.
So the 2 unprotected players are now available to be picked up on waivers by any other team. But if a team picks them up, they have to drop one of their top 4 to pick them up.
Okay.
So, for example, if Utah,
which most people think is a pretty dumb rule.
Yes. Oh, dude. I mean,
because you can't grow anything.
No, you can't. It's tough, and I've seen both. I've heard both arguments, and I see both arguments. So a lot of people feel like you can't. You're spending money on players you can't keep. You're investing time, talent, energy, coaching, all of these things into players that if they get good, it actually hurts you.
Exactly.
Because you lose them. And so, yeah, a lot of teams are upset about it. On the flip side, the NFL has what they call a practice squad. And this was Samin's argument if you watched the postgame show. Samin said they have a practice squad, and any team can come and sign somebody off that practice squad as long as they put them on the active roster.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that argument. The difference is the NFL has 53 players on the active roster.
Yeah.
We have 4.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a difference there.
Yeah.
The other argument is that the league is paying these salaries and not the teams. And so the league wants the best players to play. So I could see both sides of it. But again, I also 100% understand where the teams are coming from, being like, why would we put any emphasis on these players at this point?
If they're just going to get traded.
And guess what happened, Tyler?
What happened? You get another fine?
No, but the entire draft for these 5th and 6th players changed.
Okay.
Because you can't keep them.
Yeah.
And they can be stolen. So I'm telling you right now, there's not a challenger team out there that at least that was smart that didn't contact the premier team and vice versa and say, hey, give us $10,000 or whatever that number is, and we'll draft for you in our 5th spot, and then you draft someone in challenger for us, and then we'll just trade them after the draft. And that happened, and it happened a lot.
Yep.
And it's Monday. Challenger draft just ended. Trade window opens tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We're going to see a lot of trades. And that's part of the reason for it.
Yeah.
Because there's no value on the 5th and 6th players anymore.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Carolina. They kept Ben, kept Caitlin Christian, kept Colin. Just because I got to be honest about things.
You have to be.
So Carolina, Dave Fleming stepped down. They hired, is it Caden, Hayden, Carson?
I don't know his name, but I know who it is.
Dundon's kid as the GM. But another team's GM was helping him. Another team's owner, I should say, was helping him with trades and contacting people and things like that. Another premier team owner.
Okay.
I kind of have an issue with that.
Okay.
Isn't that like some sort of conflict of interest?
Don't talk to me about conflict of interest.
If another
MLP
owner
and
is
PPA.
helping, can he be like, oh, I can actually screw Carolina over here, or hey, do you have any interest in Carolina's players? That literally was a text we received.
Yeah.
From an owner of another team.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, do you have any interest in Carolina's players? I'm helping them. Anyways, that's just one more thing that they've got to figure out. All right, so 22nd pick in the draft. They don't pick till 22.
Mm-hmm.
They
So
spent,
there was a minimum spend also of $10,000.
and they spent the minimum.
$10,001, too much.
Yep.
$10,000, fine.
They spent the bare minimum on every pick, which is what they did last year. And they take Tammy Emmerich,
Okay.
who, again, elicited an eye roll from some people, but they spend the bare minimum. Then they pick the very end of the 5 and 6, and they spend the bare minimum, $1,000 each.
Okay.
They take Liz Trulock,
Okay.
hot paddle Liz.
Okay.
They actually took Liz for less than her fine is for her delaminated paddle. And they take Brandon Frenchie.
He's got, well,
Now here's the thing with French. He's close friends with Dundon.
Exactly.
And he lives in Dallas. Plays at Dundon's house a lot.
Yep.
And so it just kind of makes sense. Plus, he's a solid player. In fact, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that it would not shock me if Brandon French unseats Colin Johns by the end of the year.
That's assuming he's still on the team by then.
Yes, that's true. I mean,
because with these trades and waivers, people are going to be trading after every single event.
So Carolina, look, Carolina will go how Ben goes. It's kind of set up the exact same way. The one thing with Carolina where I think that they did take a step down from last year.
Who was the third? Trulock.
Trulock.
Yeah.
Where I feel like they maybe took a little bit of a step down is in singles.
For sure.
Because now when you go Dream Breakers, Ben's great, Caitlin's great, Colin is a little bit underrated. He's fine.
Yeah.
Even though Leia beat him twice last year. But Tammy's not a great singles player.
Yeah.
She's fine, but she's not great. Liz Trulock is actually a pretty good singles player, though.
Can you sub in those?
You cannot. So do they play Liz over Tammy at some point?
I'm sure for some matchups they will.
Yeah. So anyways, Frenchie is actually a pretty good singles player, too. Oddly enough, it's awkward. Oddly enough.
I played against him in one tournament, and it was the weirdest match. There was like 5 or 6 points where one person would win, and then he was like talking to me the entire time, just having a normal conversation.
Yeah. But he's not. I mean, he almost beat Ben like a month, 2 months ago.
I think he maybe won a game or something like that.
Won a game and then was up in the third. Anyways, look, if you feel like the match was completely discombobulated, he did his job.
Yeah.
All right, Chicago Slice. The Slice were one of the challenger teams to move up.
They dropped everybody.
They had to because nobody was signed.
So their coach was also that Carlos guy.
Carlos Delore, yep. So they dropped everybody, and they're the only challenger team that moved up that really spent money. Mm-hmm. So they come right out of they bid on everybody, by the way. They bid on every single pick. Mm-hmm. So they come out of the gates. They get James Ignatowicz, $90,000, pick up Ignatowicz.
Okay.
James, I believe the cost to keep James for DC would have been around $300,000.
Yeah.
So you can kind of see what his value's done. And then they fire back very next pick, and they don't get it, but they end up getting Vivian David at the 9th pick. Mm-hmm. $80,000 for Vivian David. I think it's a steal for one of the better right side females in all.
Yeah, she probably went pretty high previously too, so that's pretty good value.
Yeah, good value. Then in pick 10, right after, they go 9, 10. They go with James's protege, the pure upside pick, Max Freeman.
Yep.
Lefty.
Yep.
Spent $80,000 for him.
Okay.
Then they try to bid again. They don't get 11, but they get 12. And they're like, what do you need at 12? We need a left side female. Mm-hmm. Who's the best left side female left on the board? Callie Jo Smith. Mm-hmm. So Ignatowicz, Viv, Max, and Callie's not a bad team.
Not a bad team. I think there's a lot of unknowns, but
yeah. But considering they came from nothing, right? Yep. Started from the bottom, now we're here. And then they go and they pick up Pyrina Imperato, who actually subbed Premier last year when, was it Etta for the Ranchers? Before Dream Breaker. Pyrina, she's played with DJ a little bit recently. They've had decent results.
Yeah.
And then with the very last pick in the entire draft, in the entire Premier draft, they take their coach.
Oh, really?
Carlos Delora.
Nice.
Yeah. They drafted their coach.
Nice.
For the bare minimum. So, considering they didn't have any players, I think that's not a bad squad. I probably put them in that probably 8 to 12 range.
All right, real quick. We got to give a big shout out to C&D, our next sponsor of this show. The best pickleball nets ever. We love them. So it's been winter here in Utah. We actually are getting some snow right now. And I have one of their nets, C&D nets. and they have the wheels on them. Guess how many times I've had to move the wheels back and forth the past year since I've had the pickleball net? Zero. Because they are so heavy duty, but yet they can move with ease if you need to.
Can I just tell you that I love all the people who see C&D nets in the wild and tag us?
Yeah.
Like, keep doing that.
Somebody just tagged us the other day and said, I think they purchased around 12 or so.
Yeah.
12 nets for their facility. So their facility is for sure to be a quality facility if they're using the C&D pickleball nets.
Yeah.
So
check them out, thebestpickleballnets.com.
And use code KOTC for a great discount.
Yep. And tell them Tyler and Jimmy sent you.
Yep. All right, continue.
Okay, so Columbus.
Speaking of, C&D literally just sent us a text message.
Oh, nice. Was it a good one?
Yeah. They just got in a new product.
Oh. That's their new net. That's half the price.
Yeah.
Qualifier net. Okay.
Yeah.
It's in. Guys, it's in.
Yep.
How about what timing? These were
in sync.
is there a camera in here?
Yeah.
Something should we be creeped out? That's incredible. That is, our phones are listening to us. All right. Columbus. So Columbus made a ton of trades pre-draft. Mm-hmm. I mean, they finished last year with Riley, Jay, Callie, and
Andrea Coop?
No, Megan. Was it Megan?
Megan, yeah.
I think it was Megan. And so they made a ton of trades. Mm-hmm. So they go into this year with DSQ, Paris Todd, and CJ, which is really solid.
Yes.
And then they go get probably the best left side female on the board in Leia.
Okay.
When they get her the number 3 pick. And then they end up getting Roscoe, who they love. For some reason, David Cass must love Roscoe.
Huh.
And then their last pick is one of the things where a lot of people feel like maybe this is what's wrong with the draft. They get Marcella Hones. Marcella is the girlfriend of Rafa Hewitt. Mm-hmm. Rafa is in Challenger with 2 semifinal finishes this year. Mm-hmm. And Marcella is playing Premier. Now, Marcella is going to be, let's just be honest, she's going to be riding the bench in Premier. Mm-hmm. It's not very likely that Marcella cracks a lineup over Leia and Paris. Mm-hmm. But it is interesting that she is still on a roster. Now, I did talk to a lot of players.
Yeah, that addresses the depth situation.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I did talk, and I don't think Marcella's, I think she'd be fine in Challenger. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. I think Marcella would be a good Challenger player. My point about it is she is on a Premier roster, and, Mm-hmm. So I did talk to a lot of players, probably around 8 to 10 players, just kind of curious. And I heard that most of them said that they would rather play in Challenger than sit the bench in Premier.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
It depends on necessarily what it entails. If you're not playing, if you have zero chance of playing at all in Premier, then yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
but
I think
if you're playing
matters,
20
right?
to 30% of the time, then I think I'd probably prefer Premier.
Yeah, I think your team matters for sure. Like if I am Eric Lang and I'm like, okay, I have Hayden and Gabe in front of me, chances are I'd probably rather play Challenger. But if I'm Juan Benitez, or that's just an example, who's on the Hustlers, and I see Zane Ford and Donald Young, I'm like, okay, I think I could crack that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's 2 ways of looking at it. But yeah, both have their pros and cons for sure.
So, all right, DC Pickleball Club. They already had Rachel. Mm-hmm. They had Jackie, and they kept Eckel. I think we know. Al had Riley Newman a couple years ago. Him and Jackie. He had Christian Alshon on that team, and they had actually had Jade on that team, right?
One of them, yeah.
Yeah, I think they had both.
Yeah. Yeah, both
It
of
was
them.
Jackie, Jade, Christian, and Riley. So he gets Jackie and Riley. He goes and gets Riley with the 4th pick, pairs them together again. Declan and Rachel have had a lot of success. I think this team outside of maybe the Shock, it's got to be one of your favorites.
Yeah, I think there's 3 to 4.
Columbus too.
Columbus has got to be up there, yeah.
I don't want to play Columbus in Dreambreaker. Mm-hmm. I think that Paris and Leia, and I think that CJ's very underrated.
They're probably not the top, though.
No, they're not the top.
No.
I think this team, DC, probably in a dream breaker.
Yeah, they'd be tough.
Yeah. So DC, I mean, and then they pick up Hannah Blatt, and then Riley and Pat Smith team up for the first time since Daytona.
They didn't play in Daytona
A couple years ago at Donna's house.
Gotcha.
All right. So, so I mean, I think that's a good roster. It's a solid team.
They have some good chemistry there.
I think that team is probably top 4 or 5.
Okay.
I think that Grayson grabbed Hannah's hand a little tight when he saw those draft picks, but anyways, moving on. Dallas Flash, defending champs. I mean, they didn't mess around.
Yep.
They saw that the Shock were going, so they started bidding, right? Dallas bid first, Shock. They go back and forth. It hits 100,000, 110,000. Dallas sees that it's just them and the Shock, and so they back out because they know the Shock have to take a girl.
Yep.
So they back out. Shock take Kate. Next pick, Dallas goes all in again, and they end up getting Augie with their next pick.
So they have the same 4 players.
Same 4.
And then who are the 2 add-ons?
So they take DJ Young.
Okay.
But I'll break it here because it should be done by the time this comes out. DJ's been traded to the Bay Area Breakers.
Okay.
And then they take Tatiana Rule with one of the bottom picks. That's an upside pick, right? Another kind of unknown, just pure upside.
Okay.
All right. LA Mad Drops.
They look pretty good.
They look really good. You get Kwong with the 7th pick.
Yeah.
Now they have 2 coaches, Duck and Athena.
Duke
and Athena.
Okay.
Catherine.
Duke Thena.
Oh, yeah. Catherine, Jade, Hunter, and QD. And then they're able to actually re-pick up Thomas Wilson, who I think they can just put on IR until next year.
Yeah, how does that work?
Yeah, so IR, if you put someone on IR, they cannot play that season.
But does that count as their
But
fifth?
it doesn't count. They can pick up another player.
So once again, they're going to be traveling with an extra person?
Yeah, they're going to have an extra player. Or you just ride it out and keep Thomas as that 5th until he's healthy. If he's healthy mid-season. And then they go and get Angie Walker, who, again, compared to, with the lists that was available and the players available.
Say something similar to Caitlin Kerr.
No, I'm saying
it.
with the players that
Say
were
it.
available, Angie Walker is a good choice because she is a known. She's not unknown. We know what you get from Angie Walker.
Okay.
And she was pretty good with the bouncers last year. So you know what you get with Angie Walker. And then, that team, I think Catherine, Jade, Hunter and QT is Dreambreaker. That team in Dreambreaker should be really freaking good.
Yeah, I think a lot of drives and doubles, though. A lot of crashing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They're going to lose 11-0 or they're going to win 11-0. And Catherine, obviously, still a great singles player. And Jade, for number 4, will be fine. So, that's solid. All right, Miami. New team coming in. They could only keep Millie and Eric Onsens. Again, by the time this comes out, we might have to cut a lot if these aren't announced.
Okay.
Or should I not announce
No, we're
them?
just full send. I don't care, whatever you want, but we're full sending. We're not cutting anything.
No, we might. When's this coming out?
Most likely Wednesday.
Okay, I think we'll be fine. Eric Onsens has been traded, but we are told, to Dallas for Noe Cliff.
From Miami, you
Oh,
said?
excuse me, from Texas Ranchers to the Miami Pickleball Club. Onsens and Noe are swapping.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Ranchers want Onsens and Miami
Really?
wanted Noe.
With Alshon?
With Alshon, yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's going to be Millie, Noe Cliff, Jay DeVilliers, Yuta Funamizu, who is a the number 1 soft tennis player in the world.
Gotcha, yeah.
I don't know what soft tennis is.
You've seen it.
But he sent me a message, and he was very nice. And his sponsor is the owner of the New York Yankees.
Cool.
So Johnny Goldberg trying to get some Yankee tickets.
Yeah.
He did say that he is definitely a right side specialist, his own self-proclaimed. So it didn't fit for us because we have a lefty in Rafa. And then Ava Ignatowicz. And then they take someone who I was pretty high on. And I actually, I don't want to say help got signed, but I kind of tried to steer her in the right direction. Maya Bowie.
Okay.
Maya Bowie's from University of San Francisco Dons. High level tennis player, really good. Her last event, this is where recency bias comes in, Tyler. Mm-hmm. She lost 11-9, 11-9 to Fed and Catherine with Matthew Barlow. Barlow?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And then she, I think she went to the round of 16 in women's. Mm-hmm. And she's had some decent success. And she's only picked up, literally, this is not like a Jack Sock situation, which, by the way, Jack Sock admitted on a broadcast the other day that every chance he got between tennis tournaments or like between practices, he was playing pickleball.
Yeah.
For years.
Yeah.
So, but she just picked up a paddle 7 months ago for the first time.
Okay.
So Maya Bowie, I mean, that's a
name. I like that name.
Yeah.
Maya Bowie.
It's a massive upside swing to see what,
Were you surprised about Jay going so low?
I was and I wasn't. I was because I think that at some point you want that solid presence on your team. But this is, dude, we talk about this. It's all about upside and recency bias now. And Jay, you know what you're going to get from Jay, right? Jay's the thing that someone talked to me about Jay today. They didn't realize Jay's only 30 years old. Mm-hmm. He's young still, pretty young.
Yeah.
But he's been around a long time. Mm-hmm. And Jay plays with Callie and Pat, and they're his close friends. Mm-hmm. And I think that limits him a little bit. I think that they're fine, but there's nothing flashy. And, him and Callie are going to always flirt with that quarterfinal run, and him and Pat are going to win a couple and push a good team to 3. And then that's the end of the day.
Okay. What other teams are we missing?
All right. Fives.
Okay.
So here's another one. Another trade. Fives take Jeannie Bouchard.
Jeannie B.
Everybody that knows anything about pickleball, there's two things. One, I think a lot of people are like, if Annalie can win with Jeannie.
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
I would absolutely.
And they thought maybe it was
more top
thing.
players need to play with lesser players.
Yeah. But then we hear that Jeannie's on the move to the Phoenix Flames for Megan DeZon.
Okay.
So this team is most likely going to be Annalie, Zane, Will Howells, and Megan DeZon. Mm-hmm.
It's a good-looking team.
Yeah, solid. With Krista Getcheva and Craig Johnson.
Nice. Craig Johnson, the smile.
Yeah, who doesn't love Craig Johnson?
Yeah.
We'll round out that team. So yeah, I think if you get a motivated Megan playing next to Annalie, I think that they're better than they were last year.
Somebody on Twitter said, if anybody thinks for a moment that Jeannie's going to play one game with Annalie, like, you're out of your mind. And Jeannie Bouchard reposted that.
Yeah. She said, ouch.
She said, ouch.
Yeah. By the way, pickleball.com just took my tweet and said, Jeannie, is this true? So I sent a tweet. I was told on Saturday or Sunday that Jeannie has quite a few plans this summer. And I'm not saying look, I was joking and said she has hot girl summer plans. It was a joke. But I think that she has some appearances and some other things. And so she may not be able to make some events. And so I posted that, and I wondered if, teams would, because this is what people heard that inquired about her. And so I just wonder if teams would back off her or not back off, but obviously they didn't.
Yeah.
All right. New York Hustlers. Let's talk about Corey Ben Bassett.
The guy.
The man, the myth, the legend. Two things we got to talk about with Corey. Number one, he made almost $600,000 in trades. You got to give the guy credit for that, right? I mean, he
took a page from Connor Pardeau.
Yeah, took a page out of Connor Pardeau's book. And then he turns around and he drafts this. Zane Ford, Donald Young, again. Electric.
And not only did he draft them, but he's spending money on them too.
He did. So he spent $30,000.
He's not doing the Carolina route.
No, he went $30,000 on Zane, $30,000 on Donald. Then he goes and gets Helena Spiritus, $20,000 there. So Helena is an Australian who came over. She's came over.
How
from
did
Australia.
He contact her?
You got to contact her through her agent. I want to talk about her for a sec. I got a message from her boyfriend.
Oh, boy.
Tom Evans.
All right. Do I need leave?
No, it's fine. He didn't say anything. He just was very passive aggressive. Is this you? Was this you? So here's what happened. Helena lost to Jelena Ingram 11-0, 11-1 or something in singles. I made a comment. So she wasn't. This is what I was told. I do not know this, but a lot of people from Australia are saying that she probably was in that 8 to 10 range for females in Australia. And Tom was similar. Like there's Mitch Hargreaves.
In singles, I think he was top two.
Probably top, yeah. But I just mean in doubles. And there's better players over there. There's Joey Wild and Mitch Hargreaves, and there's, Rose Van Reek. And not saying that they're not good players. Just saying that it's not like the top 2 players in Australia came over. And there seemed to be like a little bit of like questioning why those 2 signed with PPA, and part of it's their Proton deal. They got to deal with Proton. Part of it is obviously availability. And yeah, they're young and electric. Tom, when he plays, is electric. So after she lost, I made a comment, or a comment was made on our social media, I should say. And it basically said,
did you make it or somebody else said it?
So I don't want to admit this, but the problem is I don't even have a login to like More King of the Court.
So the Instagram you're talking about.
Yeah, like I don't even have a login.
Okay.
So like when stuff gets posted on there and I get fined for it, I actually don't even have a login. That's true, and you know that.
That is true.
I don't even know it. So anyways, the point is there was a comment that was made that essentially said that.
But it wasn't on Instagram.
It was not. No, it was on the Discord. It said that she wasn't signed. The good thing she wasn't signed for her skills. Something like that.
Caitlin Kerr. Wow.
It was very Caitlin Kerr-esque, but not really, because I think that there's some truth to it. Let's be honest. But also, it doesn't mean that her skills are undermined. It doesn't mean that she's not going to be good. It just means that right now that she's got work to do, and you're losing, the first round. Like you have work to do, and that's okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. I didn't say she sucked, by the way. I actually was very complimentary when they were signed. And we were very high on Tom Evans when he was signed. And so anyways, I don't think he appreciated that. So Tom, I apologize. I actually would rather apologize to her. So if you can have her contact me.
It'll go through him.
But also I said this to him. You're a pro athlete now. You are. Criticism is going to come. You're getting paid to play a professional sport, and there's going to be criticism. It just is what it is. Now, look, there's different.
I don't even know if I would say that's criticism. Those are just comments.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
The amount of comments that we get, whether it's hate or even good or bad, or funny or weird or creepy.
Yeah, and guess what? Let's not be naive, Tyler. Let's not be naive and think that the Phoenix Flames went after Jeannie Bouchard because they really think that Jeannie Bouchard's skill set really pairs well with Tyson McGuffin. No. Do we think Jeannie's getting a hell of a lot better? Yes.
Yeah.
She's improving a ton. She's working hard from last year to this year. She's come a long ways. Is Jeannie Bouchard the number 3 best player in this MLP draft? Of course not.
I think it was number 8 she went.
8 overall, but women.
Yeah.
But is Jeannie really, really marketable? Is she really popular? And does she have 2 million Instagram followers? Yes, that plays a role. Just like Jack being picked by the Hustlers last year. That plays a role. I don't care what anybody says. The marketing aspect of it matters.
It does, but.
And it's a hell of a lot easier to market Helena Spiritus than it is Jimmy Miller.
Hey, you get your name out there.
I'm just saying.
Get your name out there.
It's the truth. And that just is what it is. And I know people are going to hate on it, and it's some sort of objectifying women, but it's the same thing for men too. It's happening with Jack Sock too. It happens with Tyson McGuffin, right? Now Tyson is still a very good player. Jack's a good player. And I'm not saying that these ladies are not good players. I'm just saying that their value becomes inflated, men too, based off of if they're more marketable or not. If all things are created equal, Jay DeVilliers is a better player right now than Jack Sock. I think that wholeheartedly.
Okay.
Do I think Jack Sock has potential? Of course. I think Jack, but Jay is also 5 years younger, right? Jay has way more results. Jay has had way more success, and Jay DeVilliers fell all the way.
Not in tennis.
No. Okay, but I'm just saying. He fell all the way to number 20 or 30 or whatever. Why?
Yeah.
Because he's Jay. He is who he is.
Yeah.
It's not where Jack Sock, freaking New York signed a Hugo deal because of him.
Yeah, that they get gift cards to purchase clothes from.
No, dude, they got Can I tell this story? I'm going to get someone in trouble. They were given $200 each.
Oh, I thought it was like 75.
No, it was like 200. But here's the thing: the only thing in that store that you could buy was like a water bottle or a pair of sunglasses.
Yeah.
Because it was so expensive.
Yeah.
So, anyways, with that.
All right. What other teams do we have left?
Okay. All right. So,
Man, there are way too many teams.
so Squeeze
Okay.
end up. They have Fed, Dylan, Lacey.
That's a good team.
Yeah, solid. They end up taking. I mean, again, this is because things started to get thin, so now you have to go upside, right? They end up taking Samantha Parker.
I think that's a good pick.
Yeah, I think she's solid. I think she'll be good. Again, the thing is someone pointed this out. I think it was Ryan DeVos actually of the Squeeze, the owner. He pointed this out. He said, a lot, or maybe it was Dave Fleming. He said a lot of these players, like a Samantha Parker, right? Like it's hard to break into getting good partners, and you never know what's going to happen when one of these players gets a good partner and watch them excel. Look at what happened with Mari, right?
Noe has happened with.
Noe's a great example.
Yep.
Yeah. So you never know when they're going to excel. And so Samantha playing with Lacey, she could be a lot better than we think because she's not going into every tournament with.
Yep, that's 100%
And she's
true.
not the best player on her team, which helps a lot of times.
All right, real quick, we got to give another shout out to our next sponsor, which is Vulcan. They're using the Vulcan V Pro Flight for MLP this year. And also, it is the official ball of the PPA Tour. Go check them out. V Pro Flight. The website is vulcansportinggoods.com. Use code KOTC for the best price possible. It supports us and also gets you the best price possible.
Yeah.
Vulcan, we love them.
The official ball. You want to play like the pros? Get
Exactly.
Vulcan. All right. Squeeze round out their roster with Tom Evans, the aforementioned Tom Evans, and Utah's own Allie Phillips.
Okay.
All right, Phoenix Flames. They're going to end up with, it's going to be Jeannie B. When it's all said and done, Tyson, Jesse Irvin, Jack Sock.
Wow. Jeannie and Jesse.
Jeannie and Jesse.
What a combo.
It's going to be great. They're going to have fun.
So much talking.
Then they take Proton. They actually spent $35,000, one of the highest amounts on a, what's the word?
Like lower pick?
Yeah.
It was Pesa, right?
No, Alex Walker and Pesa. They took
Okay.
both
Cool.
Arizona Proton
Yes. Yep.
players.
Yep.
All right, SoCal.
That's awesome for them.
SoCal Hard Eights. I don't know if things are rough at work for Tim Parks. I don't know if he's having a bad year. I don't know if he's having girl troubles. Maybe he sucks at his job. I honestly don't know, but they did not spend a penny. They had Irina and Judith Castillo. And they spend the bare minimum on all the rest of their picks. Ivan Jakulovic. That's pretty good.
Yep.
Ryan Fu.
Okay.
Blaine Havanier for $10,000 each. And then they spend $1,000 and they get Lauren Hidalgo Smith.
Okay.
Blaine, I think 23, 24, and 30 for $10,000 each. I think all three of those players went exactly where you would probably slot them. So for a team not spending, they probably did the best that they could do. I don't know if Tim needs a second job, if he's losing money, on the sheet. I don't know what's happening, but they've definitely mailed it in this year.
Yeah.
100% mailed it in.
Yeah.
So yeah, SoCal's by far. SoCal versus the Hustlers should be played on like court 37 on the side court somewhere nobody can watch.
Temp nets, no C&D.
Temp nets. Yeah, literally, someone can put up a Swift net on a side court. Actually, honestly, paint lines in a parking lot because nobody wants to watch that, and it's going to honestly set the
Will Tim be there in his Jesus sandals, though?
He will be there in his Jesus sandals, and it's probably going to set the sport back another freaking 15 years having to watch that. All right, moving on. St. Louis Shock.
Okay.
They did what we all knew they would do. They took Kate Fahey.
Yeah. We already talked about them in the beginning.
Yeah. And then they have Felicity DeLaura and Eric Lang. Okay. Texas Ranchers.
Okay.
Alshon Etta, Tina Pisnik. They drafted Noe, but we were told that he's probably on his way to Miami for Eric Onsens. Or by the time this comes out, that's the rumor.
Okay.
And then they spent a lot on their picks. They took Michael Lloyd, who trains at the lab, and Helena Jansen.
Okay.
No relation to Leia.
No relation, but very similar names.
Yes, and she's from Spain, I believe. Good singles player. All right, your team.
Utah Black Diamonds, UBD.
UBD, you guys have...
Hold on.
What?
Knock on wood. We may not be the worst this year.
No, you guys should be pretty good. You guys should be fine, right in the middle. Connor and you are solid together. You guys have been good. Alex Trong is a great right sider. And then Pardo spends some dough.
Pardo's got that money.
Pardo, yeah. I mean, that bridge loan must have trickled down to him.
Yeah.
He gets Mevish Safdar.
Okay.
She is a tennis player from Minnesota. Played at Minnesota Golden Gophers. Also a PhD candidate at Indiana. She plays on Indiana's.
What does a PhD candidate mean?
That means that she's going to go to get her graduate school and get her doctorate.
She's going to?
Yeah, or she is already in it, or she's been accepted.
Okay, maybe been accepted.
Yeah.
So how does that play with pickleball? Will she?
Well, she's playing on Indiana University's collegiate team right now. My guess is that she's going to go full-time pickle, make a run at this. She is, yeah, I mean, if you watch her film on her, she has all the skills and all the abilities to be a very, very good player. But it looks like, oh yeah, she's finishing up her dissertation in sports psychology.
Gotcha.
So I think when she jumps all in, she's going to be very, very good. But she's needs time, right? And so you guys end up getting Jeannie Arakina, who I would say
I think that's a pretty good pick.
I think it's a great pick. I think most people would probably say that Jeannie, behind those top 4 girls, was probably the best female available. And Jeannie actually was on your team last year for 42 seconds.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And was cut. And I'm not even sure Connor even called her before she was cut. But
will the same happen?
Yeah, well, now she's on your team. I mean, she may.
Well, she's the 5th, 6th spot. So
I mean, she is and she isn't. She may be one of your starters.
yeah, but wasn't she brought
She
on?
was she was drafted in the 5th. But what I'm saying is, she may be the starter until Safdar's ready.
Yeah.
Right? There could be a chance that.
But then somebody could pick up that last person.
They could,
meanwhile.
and the thing is you risk if you start Jeannie, you risk somebody coming in swooping on Safdar. But if they pick up Safdar, they have to start her. They don't have to start her, but she has to be in their top 4.
Gotcha.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting. But and then you guys take Yates Johnson, who's finally healthy. He's been basically hurt for 6 months.
Yep.
So again, Yates is that's a good pickup for you.
Yeah.
If you or Connor can't go, I mean, Yates is solid.
Yeah.
All right. So that rounds out the Premier Draft. I think we should talk about Challenger another time.
Okay.
Challenger Draft kind of is what it is. There's going to be
they only have 4 players, right?
4 players, and there's going to be so many trades that none of these teams are going to be the same.
And there's 4 teams or 6 teams?
There are 6 teams in Challenger. Yeah. So,
Next year will be a blast with 4 teams, right?
I mean, well, next year there will only be, unless they sell 2 teams, there's only going to be 2.
Gotcha.
I think everybody's going to be in Premier next year.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. All right. So, winners, losers, Tyler.
What teams?
Yeah.
I don't have the sheet in front of me, but I mean, the ones we talked about, Shock are going to be very strong. I think DC will be pretty strong. I think Columbus will be strong. I was thinking Ranchers could be strong, but with that last trade, if that does go through, then I'm not sure. I'll have to look at that again.
Yeah.
Who else is there?
I think you nailed probably the top teams. The Squeeze.
Squeeze might be up there.
Squeeze, yeah. I think Fed and Dylan will be good. Samantha Parker, we'll see.
All right. Who are the worst teams? Top 3.
I mean, look, I think
bottom 3.
I think SoCal's number 1 for me.
Okay.
Because not only Corey's team is wild, but at least he 30,000 for Zane Ford. I think that anyone would jump on that. So at least he spent. So I would say that SoCal's 1. And then number 2 has got to be Hustlers.
Okay.
Right?
I would think so.
And then number 3, I think it's going to be kind of a crapshoot on the third one. Look, Phoenix, we don't know. Phoenix is very much an unknown. Carolina is how motivated is
Miami? Maybe
Ben. Miami's going to be an interesting one because same thing with Miami, right?
Feels weird not to have the Utah in this conversation.
Yeah, it's not Utah. I'll tell you that.
Hey, we don't know that yet.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Miami is I don't think Carolina's ever going to be bad with Ben, right? But Miami, is Maya Bowie. How good is she, right? Can Jeannie and Jesse win matches for the Flames.
Yep.
Can Jack and Tyson. So,
anyways, it's going to be interesting. This is going to be the first year ever in MLP history where they do
I just
a
realized
dedicated
Noe
season.
and Jay,
Two Frenchmen in Miami.
Yeah,
who's flying?
I don't know.
Who's the flying Frenchman now?
Yeah.
This will be the first ever dedicated season.
Wait a minute. And then they have Millie, and then they have Maya Bowie, and then they have Yuta. That is like the most international team.
Yeah.
And then you have blonde hair, blue eye, Ava Ignatowicz. So you cover everybody.
Yeah.
That's very international of them.
International. First ever dedicated season, so it'll be very interesting, in my opinion, to see how the fans and also the players like it.
Yeah, I actually just received a invite to the Bears because we were hosting the San Clemente event.
No fun.
So, yeah.
All right, let's try to do a recap. This upcoming week, we do have the PPA Cape Coral tournament that will be going on.
Yeah.
I'm actually not playing that myself, so my next one will be the Texas Open,
Which is probably a good thing for you right now.
Right now, I've been under the weather the past week, and so I'm excited to get my body back to full health. Do you have the draws? I have them pulled up too.
I am. Yes, I got them right here. All right, you want to go men's first?
Yeah, we're going to go through
fast.
this pretty quickly. One headline is Federico is not playing singles.
Yeah.
There was not a rumor, but his excuse was that what was it again? Did you see what he said?
I can't remember what he said. No.
He had like a conflict or something else.
Yeah. So he's not going to be in singles.
Okay.
Ben is the 1 seed.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, singles is always tough, right? I mean, James Ignatowicz is playing. The winner of Wyatt Stone, James Ignatowicz, will play Ben Johns.
Okay.
Eric Onson's and Pesa.
Julian Arnold could play Rafa in their round of 32.
Could play Rafa.
That could be a lot of fun.
Max Freeman could end up playing Connor Garnett or Edward Perez, who's also good. James Delgado and Ivan Jakulovic will play QD. DJ Young and Steven Madonia, one of them will get Tyson. Ryan Fu and Yuta Funamizu, one of them will get Christian. I mean, it's tough.
Yeah.
Connor Garnett ends up with the 2 seed, so he'll end up playing Gabe Tardio. Could possibly play Gabe Tardio in the round of 16.
Kwong and Jack will be fun because they just played this last tournament, and that was a good match.
Yeah, that was a great match. So we got good matchups. I mean, Tyson and Zane Ford. Zane Ford he's fiery. He's electric.
He's good in singles. That's by far his best event.
Yeah, and he's great in singles. So that'll be interesting. So yeah, it'll be. I mean, Ben is coming off a really good performance, and he doesn't have Fed.
Top 3.
I'm going to say Ben, Dylan Frazier ends up losing the. Oh wait, he has to play Ben in the quarters. Okay, I'm going to say Ben, Xiaomei.
Wow.
In the semis.
Okay.
And then I'm going to say on the other semi, I'm going to say Jack Sock and Zane Ford.
Jack Sock's not getting through Connor.
Jack Sock, Zane Ford.
I would say Alshon.
I could see Alshon. And I say that we have a Ben Johns.
Ben Johns Alshon final. Let's go.
All right. I'm going to say Ben Johns, Jack Sock final.
Okay. Women's singles.
All right. Women's pro singles. AL, of course, is there. Jeannie Bouchard against her new teammate, Jessie Irvin, in the round of 32.
Okay.
Dude, we might have to throw this entire podcast out if these trades aren't announced. Let's see. Lina Padiga-Maite and Paulina Lebo. So Paulina was actually available to be drafted. She's
all right.
like a real estate agent or something.
Who do you have your top 3 coming out?
So, man, this is tough because Leia is all the way down to a 6 seed. Buckner's a 3 seed.
Kate will play Annalie in the semis.
Yeah, so I think we see, and Caitlin Christian and Leia will play in the quarters. And Brooke, I like Brooke's draw. I think we have Brooke, Buckner, and Annalie in the finals.
Okay. Let's do mixed doubles.
Okay.
Mixed doubles, right?
Mixed doubles. So, Ben and AL, Brandon French, Jeannie Bouchard play Rafa and Lina in the first round. Jackie is playing with Xiaomei, and they actually have a pretty good draw, but they'll end up having to play Ben and Annalie in the round of 16. So I think Ben and Annalie are heavy, heavy favorites there. Deckel and Rachel would end up playing probably Tyson and Lacey
Okay.
in the round of 16.
Tyson, he took off the last tournament. He was injured.
Yeah.
And so hopefully he is back to 100%.
Hayden and Georgia, little partnership we haven't seen a lot of.
Okay.
Kate is playing with Jay DeVilliers.
Yes. Yep.
Andre and Tina back together. Let's see. Anna is playing with J-Dub. So Hayden goes with Georgia and Anna goes with J-Dub.
Little swap.
Little swappy swap. Jack Sock and Alex Trong. Tyra and Augie back together. Trying to recapture that flash magic. Leia Jansen and Dylan Frazier.
Okay.
That team could be boom or bust. That could be a good team. Alshon and Catherine. So Alshon's kind of moved on from Tyra a little bit. So he's playing with Catherine. Let's see. We have...
Wow. Etta Wright is playing with Yvonne.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Did somebody pull out?
I don't know. You would think, but...
I wonder if someone pulled out.
Yeah.
Who? Because then wasn't there... I can't remember. Well, was it you?
I did not have a partner for this one.
Fed and Vivian David?
I don't know.
Victoria DeMuzio and Kwang Duong.
Okay.
All right. Hunter and Paris. So, yeah, I mean, this is going to be tough. I think that we're going to see a lot of upsets. Let's see. The bottom part of this bracket, I actually really like. I think Jesse and Gabe versus Jade and James is going to be. The bottom part is really wide open. So I'm going to say Christian and Catherine take on Jade and James in the semis.
Okay.
And then on the other side, I like Ben and Annalie, obviously. I actually think I like Dylan and Leia. I just think their matchups are pretty good. But then you have Anna. I don't know, Tyler. It's just mixed is going to be fun.
Women's pro draw.
All right, women's.
We got Annalie and Catherine.
So your boy said that Jim Klaus said that AB and Rachel will never.
Did he officially say that?
No, but you.
Okay.
I mean, you got him off the record. They'd
Yeah.
never beat them again.
So far, he's right.
I mean, it was one event.
Yep.
That's true. They definitely have a very. I mean, again, same thing, right? You have Brooke and Zoe. You have, these teams are very similar. Jackie and Vivian David, we haven't seen a lot of. Jade and Lacey has always been a good team. But, I mean, I think it comes down to Annalie and Catherine against AB and Rachel. I think that, Leia and Lucy back together. I just think that is
Etta's with Alex Trong.
interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that they just maybe just looking at these, I think that anything else would be a massive upset.
Yeah. All right. Men's pro doubles.
All right, men's pro doubles. Ben and Andre Daescu.
Yep.
That team could be very, very tough. Riley Newman, Dylan Frazier. Hayden Patriquin and Gabe Tardio.
Matt Wright and Zane Navertil.
Matt Wright and Zane Navertil is going to be freaking Roscoe and Yates Johnson better get ready. Julian and Hunter. Christian and Fed. Man, there's some good teams here.
Yeah, should be fun.
Kwong and Pablo. Tyson and Deckel.
They're back.
Yep. Colin Johns and Noe.
Yep.
They may grind out some teams.
I think it should work very well up to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Up to maybe the top 10-ish teams or so. I think they'll do just fine. But once they start playing those guys that speed up a lot, then...
Connor Garnett and James Ignatowicz.
What are your thoughts on their draw? So I normally play with Connor, but he's with Ignatowicz this tournament. And so they'll play Martin Emmerich and Daniel De La Rosa first round.
Dude, I actually think that Connor and James should... I mean, they'll get Tyson and Deckel in the quarter. I think that they should make the semis.
Semis? Wow.
Yeah, I think that if you look at their draw, they should make the semis. I mean...
Okay.
You and Connor have done very well recently against Tyson and Deckel.
We have, yeah.
And I think that James, if he's on his game...
Okay. But has he been on his game recently?
Well, no, he hasn't, but that's what I'm saying. But they could very easily make the semis on this bracket, don't you think? Like if it was you and Connor...
I mean, speaking in theoreticals, yes.
If it was you and Connor, would you feel like, hey, we have a good shot at the semis?
I'd say we'd have a good shot. Yeah.
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 Yeah. I mean, you beat Colin and Noe, Martin and De La Rosa, Colin and Noe, and then you would have to beat Tyson and Deckel.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
One thing that we can't skip over, Max Freeman and Bao. It's almost like two lefties, isn't it?
It's whatever you want it to be.
Well, Bao kind of plays with both hands.
Exactly. He can be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah. I mean, that one has to be on TV, right? Like, put that on center.
If you've made it this far, please do us a big favor. We're getting into questions, but you need a lot of electrolytes.
Yes. I actually
Because
need some right now.
I know. Should you just pop some open?
I should.
One thing this past week when I've been sick that I've been needing to take a lot of and that I have been taking a lot of is electrolytes. Your body drains energy and everything like that when you're sick, especially when you're sick. So this refills you.
Look like you've lost some lbs.
A lot of people have said that, like in my face. My eyes look sunken, people said.
Like either you spend a little too much time in Daytona or Virginia Beach.
What about Tucson?
Or Tucson.
Yeah.
Or you've been sick.
Yeah. Anyways, our exclusive, the King of the Court exclusive flavor, white gummy is here. Jimmy.
Dude, I hurt my wrist. Have you ever slept on your hand?
Yeah.
It hurts so bad.
Jimmy, tell us about Holy.
Yeah, so Holy, smart electrolytes, fast hydration. They help focus, zero sugar, all the things that you need.
Zero sugar is insane.
Yeah,
because
especially with how good that tastes.
Exactly.
Yes, all the things you need to put in your body to stay healthy, to stay hydrated, to not get sick. So check them out, holyperformance.com. Use code KOTC. The other thing is, I think it's still going. Don't quote me on that, but double the discount.
Yeah.
So go try our flavor. They're actually coming out with 2 new flavors also.
We love them.
But yeah, we're big. Love Holy. Actually need them to send me some more stuff because I go through it so fast.
All right. So question time. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
All right. Somebody said 50-year-old are considered senior and their events and PPA tournaments are during the week, Wednesday. Problem. Many 50-year-olds still work. Should these events be moved to the weekend?
Don't many people in general still work? Are they saying 50 amateur? 50-year-old amateurs?
Well, PPA took away the term pro. It's just senior open, I think, now.
But like they don't do senior 50 to 59, 30, 35.
I think it's the senior open.
Oh. Yeah. So here the thing is I don't think there's enough courts to move them to the weekend. And so you have a better chance of, doing them during the week. Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's enough courts to have all the seniors play on the weekends and all the other amateurs.
Somebody said, thoughts on your team's draft picks? We went over that. I'm excited. I think we should be a little bit better than last year, which is easy to do, hopefully.
Yeah. Is it addition by subtraction, though?
All you have to do is add 4 more teams to your pool.
Yeah, exactly.
How bad are the challenger teams going to be if the premier teams are this awful?
Some of these challenger teams are going to be better than premier teams. Like, I really think that a team of Lina, Lane Sleeth, Rafa, and whoever that fourth male is can beat the Hustlers and can beat the Hard Eights. I think that Pablo, Brooke, and Zoe, they might finish top 10 in premier if you add another guy.
Yeah.
So, I think, but then there's some other teams.
Somebody said, how are these MLP premier teams so bad? Do you think they'll stay this way if they just get destroyed? Yes, they're not going to go back. It's the way it is.
But the thing that is remember, we're calling them bad, but there's also a lot of unknowns with these players. So we actually don't know if they're bad. Right? Like there's so many unknown. That's what I'm saying, that this is where it's different. It's not a fantasy draft anymore. It's truly like a new player draft.
Yeah, and I mean,
a lot of it is.
In all leagues, there's going to be teams that are great and teams that are awful. I don't know if you follow the Utah Jazz, but they are awful. Yeah. They're the last place. They're the worst in the league right now in the West.
They're not great.
No, they're literally the worst in the West. Look up the record. They've won like 14 games.
Yeah, I know. But that's what I'm saying. But like if the Jazz, but the thing is everybody follows the NBA draft very closely, right? Yeah. So you know who the Jazz are picking.
Yeah.
When the Jazz go to pick, if they get the number 1 pick, they go get Cooper Flagg, right?
Yeah.
And so everybody knows who
Cooper Flagg wants to stay one more year in college.
He might. And so they know who they're picking. Where like this, you got to think about like people know, like, you know, Mevish Safdar.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are like, who was that? Who was that? Right. But it's the same thing. You're picking a player who is a very good tennis player, extremely good. And she has insane upside. The question is, you know, what can you get that out of her? Is she going to develop that? Is she going to go full time? All these things. And it's just like a regular draft. You don't know. Instead of picking, like someone taking her instead of taking,
I don't think I agree with that logic for the most part, though. I get the logic, but I don't think I necessarily agree with it for the most part.
Yeah, and I'm not saying. Look, I'm just telling you that that's the mindset.
Yes, and I get that.
Right, and look, it's her or it's, you know, who like who's a female that didn't get picked?
Oh, I don't even know.
I mean, there's a whole list of them, but I'm just saying that like there's females that didn't get picked that are more established. Christine Trifanovich, I mean, that's probably a bad example, but Lindsay Newman, there's a great example. Mm-hmm. Lindsay Newman, she's way more established.
Yes, yeah.
We know who she is. She's a solid player. She has good results. She didn't get picked. Mm-hmm. Why? Because it's like, okay, I know who Lindsay Newman is.
There might be a commitment.
Sure, there could be a million other things. Olivia McMillan, right? Like there's
your favorite player.
Yeah, I love Olivia.
Are you surprised she didn't get picked?
I actually am very surprised she didn't get picked. But again,
where would you rate her?
In people's minds, they know who Olivia McMillan is. You know who got picked in Challenger today?
Who?
Sarah Ansberry.
Nice.
You know who she's playing with?
Who?
Travis Radmeyer.
Really?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
You know who else he took?
Who?
Kaysen Campbell. So Travis, Kaysen Campbell, Martina Frantova, and Sarah Ansberry.
What a team. All right, Jimmy, can you spell phenomenon?
Phenomenon, yes. P-H-E-N-O-M-E-N-O-N.
Money.
Woo! That's pretty good. Who's asking that?
His name is Super Mario.
I can spell Super Mario.
Is there an unwritten rule about not grunting in pickleball? I would say no.
I think everybody likes it. It's weird. Look, most of these players come from tennis, and they grunt in tennis.
Somebody, Super Mario, also said, Caitlin Christian should stop wearing those Leo Rivera. It's not a good look. I
mean, I think that's fair, and that has nothing to do with her. It has to do with, I mean, Jay should too.
Andre as well.
Yes, but look, if they're signing checks, you'll wear whatever you want.
People loved. Yeah, we're not even answering this one. They asked about Ben and Annalie, how far they'd make it.
Oh yeah, in a men's draw.
Why doesn't 4.0 to Pro get more love from other pods? I don't know what they mean.
4.0 to Pro is a podcast.
Who is it?
Well, that's why it doesn't get more love, because you don't watch it.
Who are they?
I don't know. I don't watch it. That's why. I think it does like.
I have not heard of them. I apologize.
Well, it's. Is
it Pickleball?
Yeah, it's Pickleball Podcast. It's on YouTube. I don't know. That's probably why. I don't know. Isn't it coaching? I think it's coaching.
Okay. Yeah. Jimmy does not watch many other pods.
I don't even watch our pod. And you know that. I hate hearing my voice. I hate my voice.
Do you run clinics? How do we get a Tyler.loong lesson for lefties? I do them very sporadically. I don't do them that often.
But if you had enough interest, would you do one?
If the price was right, yes.
Wow, this guy. I would just
I would do one.
I'd like to just give back to the community.
Yeah. All right. I'll sign one. I'll get that set up for you, and you can give back to the community. I bet we'd get a lot of people signing up for that. Yeah. What's your schedule this week? Somebody said, why do you chop on your backhand slice drops, Tyler?
You do get a lot of grief for that, Tyler.
I do, but slice versus topspin, I think they're an easier shot. The topspin, it gives you it's more risk reward. It's a lot better shot when you hit it right, when you hit it perfectly. But if you don't hit it perfectly, then it's a lot more difficult to execute.
Yeah.
The slice, in my opinion, gives you a lot more margin of error to play with.
It's fair.
Somebody just made a comment. I think seedings are correct and placement of teams are random because sometimes it's 1 versus 3 and 2 versus 4. So the numbers are always the same, but the rankings, those are randomized. So for example, 1 and 2 are always the true 1 and 2. 3 and 4 are always the...
One and 2 are always the same. 3 and 4 are interchangeable.
They're interchangeable.
5 through 9 are interchangeable.
Yeah. So you could be the number 3 seed on paper, but in reality, in points, you are the number 4 seed.
Yep, exactly. And that's so they don't have the same matchups every event, they say.
Oh, this is a good question. They said, Tyler, what did you and Connor do differently to play Ben and Gabe so competitively?
Oh, great question, Tyler.
What are your thoughts, Jimmy?
I think that there's a few things. Okay. Number one, I think that you were way more aggressive from the right side.
Okay.
And number two, I think a lot of times teams try to avoid Ben. And what you do when you avoid Ben is it allows Ben to freelance a little bit and allows Ben to stick his paddle in, allows Ben to come over and be aggressive. But you guys kept Ben occupied. Mm-hmm. And Gabe, in essence, is not used to playing with Ben. Mm-hmm. And so Gabe didn't know when and where he could come and step in and take balls from the right. He was just kind of letting Ben do his thing. And you guys kept Ben occupied the entire match, mm-hmm. which allowed you to essentially grind out points. And so the right side guy had to be the aggressor. Usually it's right to right. This time mm-hmm. it was left to left. It mm-hmm. was Connor and Ben going at each other. Mm-hmm. And when you do it that way and you have a lefty, mm-hmm. the lefty is way more effective. Mm-hmm. Right? And so I think that kind of neutralized Gabe, and Gabe wasn't sure what to do. I also thought you guys did a great job of mixing up your dink patterns where you went middle mm-hmm. just enough to where they weren't sure who was going to take the ball.
I would agree. Obviously, this was Ben and Gabe's first tournament, I think, ever. So they were figuring things out, but our strengths kind of play into that matchup. Me being lefty, I don't think Ben enjoys playing against lefties. And then also with Connor Garnett's back end going cross court, he can do that all day. And so I think it just kind of played into our strengths for the most part. Is Alshon allowed on Annalie's tour bus?
I bet with Lee coaching him, he's gotta be.
Okay, we'll answer a few more. Should the PPA form a Team USA to compete at the global stage like America Pickleball Cup? That would be cool if they did that, but I don't think they ever would, at least.
No, they would do their own.
Yeah.
Like, I think PPA should do an all-star event, and it should be like United States versus the world.
Just because we love talking about James Ignatowicz, somebody said, Papa Jimmy has been sucking since he started hopping around the court like a rabbit. Well,
he's always done
that. So.
Yeah. He's definitely, listen, he hasn't played well.
All right. Same person said, why has James Ignatowicz performed badly the last year or so? He should stop hopping.
I mean, look, he just hasn't played up to the standard, but also, I mean, he was never dominant in men's. Let's just remind people of that to begin with.
I wouldn't say he was ever dominant, but he was a good player.
He was good.
He was a top 5.
But he was very
10 player.
He was very dominant and mixed with Anna Bright. In fact, a lot of people thought they had probably become the clear-cut number 2 team. Mm-hmm. And Christian was obviously there, but Christian wasn't getting the partners at the time. And everyone were like, but look, Anna is still up there in mixed. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter who she's with, right? Her and Deckel.
Yeah.
So I think that he just is kind of, you've said this from the very beginning. You've said this from our very first podcast we ever did, mm-hmm. because you had just played with Jilly B, but that in mixed, the women matter mm-hmm. way more than the men. So I think that has something to do with it. And then, James clearly is training other people. He's focusing on clinics. He's doing all these other things.
Yeah.
And it's just affected his game.
Why did pickleball.com take down the post about KK comments?
I don't know. She must have friends in high places. I have no idea, honestly, unless the comments got like kind of out of hand. I legit don't know.
Okay. That's most of the questions for today. If you guys have made it this far, please do us a big favor. Hit that like and subscribe button. It helps this channel grow. Jimmy?
Yes.
Any new exciting things happening or that you want to disclose?
No. Listen, I mean, this could be the Connor Pardo 2.0 pod that never gets released.
I feel like there wasn't that much that we announced.
No, but there are some trades and things. Yeah, and obviously
I'm just hoping to get you another fine.
maybe some of these trades don't come to fruition. So we'll just say that.
Wait, did you pay the fine or did the team pay the fine?
I'm not the fine was issued, just to be clear, to the team.
Well, yeah, you represent the team.
Yes, but it's not the team's job to pay the fine. The team didn't do anything.
But they fined the team.
I know, but they didn't do anything. So
Oh, I have a question for you. So I was talking to a good friend last tournament, and he's all like, I like you to me, but he's all like, you love to argue. Do I love to argue?
I think you like to play devil's advocate a little bit sometimes.
This was the guy that you saw at Cucumber Courts.
Oh, it was him?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's like, you'll argue about anything.
Did you just call him a good friend?
He's a good friend.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I just think that you like to play devil's advocate. It's fine. It's not that serious. But hey, I need to be clear on this. Everything we've talked about is speculation. Nothing is official.
And it's for entertainment purposes
It's for
only.
entertainment purposes only. And nothing has been released by the league, and nothing has been released. This is all our own speculation on what we think could happen with some of these trades.
Our sources are third and fourth and fifth parties.
They're literally, by far, yes. This is stuff
hearsay.
that,
You know the game of telephone?
this actually is stuff that's been posted in other places on the internet by other people, like NML.
Yeah.
They posted about the Genie Bouchard trade.
Did they get fined?
They can't get fined because they got fired.
Oh.
So they can't get fined anymore. They posted about that. That's where we heard it. Okay? All right. Moving on.
All right. Thank you. And we will see you guys next time.